Hello, Queen Lene. This is part 3 and the final part. So, anyways, like I said, family went great. It wasn't easy. Like I said, it was more like for my mom. Every time I turned around, she was, bitching about something. Down at Aaron's place, it was bitching about how Aaron's place is like 75% clean and still looks atrocious. Well, his kitchen's atrocious because he uses that as his workbench for his pipe making. So, in the end, like I said, we had some trouble with Mom. Not that much trouble, I gave my uncle a couple of things that I thought he might like, which he was like, oh, cool, thanks. Oh, his car is nice. Oh, that damn SUV he's got. Oh, I'd love to have his. He's got a top of the line Cadillac Escalade. Oh boy, that damn thing's got electronic start windows. My uncle died, he went and bought himself a caddy. Which, by the way, really pisses off my aunt because she's the one that spends most of his money. That's one thing he said. If you get married, make sure you don't spend all the money. I said, Uncle, I don't gotta worry about that. I said, if I get married to a woman and I'm still best friends with Aaron and he's around, we would have to watch out for Aaron and his spending. We talked about that. His wife is like Aaron. If I brought in $1,000, for example, Aaron would spend $2,000. My aunt says if my uncle brought in $5,000, she'd spend $6,000. It's about right. She's Japanese, so. Anyways, we were talking about Texas. He's like, well, you got everything put together. If you need any help, let me know. I'll help you move down there. And I said, yeah, we might need some. But mostly it was about, he was trying to not convince me not to go down there because of the heat. And, technically I might not even do it, it just depends on a few things, mostly Aaron, weather. Aaron's trying to get his license to drive. If we get the license, we might be okay down there, but crap, we're still figuring things out. So, yeah, so we're just plugging away. Me and Aaron just, we're looking into it. We wanted to go, but like I said, our number one friend, who was supposedly leading me by the nose and Aaron's gut feeling was playing me, he said that Aaron said that she was just playing mind games. That's his gut feeling, because he's like, got an IQ 174. So, because of that, Aaron's looking out for me. So, this one, like I said, I suggested certain tent sizes, and she's like, oh, this one's cute, I'll take this one. I said, okay, I'll order it, and then nothing. And Aaron said, if you go ahead and you order a tent for someone, say you wanted a tent, you're like, oh yeah, give me a 18 by 23 wall tent with a wood stove jack and sewn in floor and stuff. If I went out and got it, before I ordered it, you would say, hey, don't order one for me, it was just a joke, or I'm not really moving down to Texas, I'm just, but she was the one that would be like, oh, this is cute. Oh, do you really need a couple scooters? They're luxury items. Oh, no, you don't need an army truck. You could walk to town. Do you think Aaron wants to walk in the desert 30 miles, 50 miles, or 70 miles to get supplies? So, Aaron, Aaron, he can talk himself into anything. Tombstone, what? He can talk himself into anything. So, no, that's what Doc Holliday said. That's what I love about Watt. He can talk himself into anything. So, anyways, we try to do our best, but Aaron's gut feeling, like I said, was, leading me by the nose. I asked direct questions about, hey, how'd those rum cigars go? No answer. I said, hey, you said you didn't like pipes, but you smoke cigarettes constantly. What gives? No answer. I said, hey, if you really truly smoke the pipe, you gotta try these blends out. No answer. Or deleted them. I asked a question between you and I said, or to the world. I said, I was gonna get a BlackBerry or G1 to converse with you more often on MySpace. No answer. My uncle and I talked about that, and he says, don't get it just for one person. Save your money. And I said, yes, yes, yes. Which I agree, at the time it was a good idea, but I didn't buy it, I believe good man upstairs is like, you don't need a BlackBerry, you don't need a G1. So, being Native American, I had to sense out my animals last night. One of them being the wapiti, which is also known as the American elk over here. The true definition of elk is the moose. Anyways, I've been reading a book about elk. That's to pass the time. Try it, but I'm not depressed today. Last night I was till bedtime. Once I was showered and stuff and washed off all the dirt and that grime off me since I couldn't shower with my uncle here and my mom, I felt a lot better, and I said, oh, fuck this, I'm only going to care about certain people online. The rest of them I don't know, so who gives a shit? I said I'm going to care about Aaron, and, my sister tried committing suicide. That's one thing that was stressing me out, too, and that's why I made that one movie about, then Aaron said make an apology, video and apologize and hope she sends a friend's request and unblocks you. My opinion is who gives a shit? I'm done with her. She blocks me, which I didn't do anything. I just said, hey, someone who leads someone by the nose, and they could have sent me a message. Those questions are inappropriate. I don't need to answer them. How good the cigar is. So I said, well, piss on it. Who cares, So with that said and done, everything went well. So I was like, oh, cool. So all is well, like I said, Queen Lene. Life is good. Family's back in Everett. Mom thinks she can get into a place. I don't know all the details about her mobile home. She let it go to the mortgage company, supposedly. Yet, supposedly she owed some money to the mobile home park, so somehow mobile home manager ended up with the damn house or something. I don't know the whole details, but hell, I think my mom's smelling like a rose there and could get into her own place, but she wants a nice apartment with washer, dryer, and everything, and I was like, piss on it. I'd rather stay right here, however, as you know, I live in Mexicanville, which means there's more Mexicans here. Gotta pack me a frickin' pistoli to make sure no son of a bitch tries to rob me. We've had robberies up the wazoo lately, grocery stores, gas stations, a couple of nights ago, Aaron said he saw a couple of frickin' hoodlums, about 30 of them, bail out of his building where the drug dealer lives. We have instead of going outside, where you can get into people's houses from outside, we have to go into an inner door, and then there's halls, and then you gotta go out. So that's what the apartment is. Just giant halls with apartments galore, And that's what we have. They're like, you can convert them into a convalescent or, I went into one apartment when I was younger. It just had halls. It went for a mile, I swear. It was just and you see apartments on each side, and it just kept going. And it's like, holy crap, I don't know. That was the biggest apartment complex I ever saw. The lady read me my tarot cards, too. There. She was in a tarot reading. Anyways, I'll be right back.